RAYMOND VAN NIEKERK is the Global Marketing Executive for INVESTEC Bank, and he happens to be in South Africa at the moment, and we're going to catch up with him to find out about the world's most heritage-filled and famous thoroughbred horse race before he jets off back to London for the INVESTEC Derby banquet on Wednesday. Raymond's in the marketing department. Let's go and join him now. Raymond, there's certain things that are apparently made in heaven, and we go back 2 years to the Queen's Diamond Jubilee, where everything started at the INVESTEC Derby at Epsom Downs, and needless to say, the 233-year history that precedes this incredible event must be something that INVESTEC still pinch themselves having acquired.
Well, absolutely we do. I mean, we started in 2009. 2012 was just monstrously big for us because the Queen chose it as her first official function, and every day we literally do pinch ourselves because it's a piece of history. I mean, 1780 this race was run for the first time, and here we are, a South African company who's spread its wings and established businesses in some places, and we're entrusted with this piece of history. It's wonderful.
The frequent visits that have transpired from some of the board directors and some of the intrinsically entwined members of Epsom Downs has been very important for South Africa, not least of all Anthony, who's been out here on a couple of occasions, and he speaks so highly of South African racing tradition, which is akin to the Epsom Derby.
It's South African racing tradition, and it's South Africa. You see, I mean, South Africa is an easy sell. All you have to do is bring people here, because the minute they come to our country, they go, hang on a second, the people are wonderful. It's a lovely place. Whether you've got the beauty of the Cape or the energy of the Highveld or the sort of I suppose the leisurely pursuits of Natal, it doesn't matter where you go. The place is sellable. So getting them over here, they're spreading the word as well. They're going back and going, what an amazing country, what an amazing setup in the racing industry, what amazing people. So it's good. It's very good for us.
Now, the all-encompassing nature of the INVESTEC Derby, bringing people from far and wide, and of course people that have some sort of claim to the common property that exists, just lends itself to such a dynamic diversity of incredible spectacles.
Absolutely. You've got everybody there. You've got normal working class folk who pitch up with their families and take a food hamper and sit on the hill and watch the spectacle and the kids run around and have fun. And then you have somebody like the Queen, who in 60 years on the throne she's only missed the Derby once. And this year she's got the 70th anniversary of the Normandy landings. She's in France, in Normandy, on the morning of the Derby. She's flying by helicopter to Epsom to come and watch the INVESTEC Derby. I mean, that's special.
Well, it's quite incredible, and it brings home to me in graphic detail the ease with which these horses and people fly around Europe, because we think about Europe being a huge place, but in actual fact, Aidan O'Brien's horses will be in Ireland the day before, and the next minute they're here, and we spend 6 months getting our horses onto the world stage. It's quite a bizarre situation.
Yeah, it's a really sad state of affairs, the whole horse sickness story and so forth. I mean, the world is mobile. I'm in Johannesburg as we speak, and I can be in London in 11 hours' time. And I look at the infrastructure the guys have. We were out at Ballydoyle and Coolmore looking at Aidan's infrastructure. They're geared to do this. The transport infrastructure in Africa can do it as well. Problem is we're not allowed to, so a bit of a disadvantage.
Well, Aidan O'Brien's head man has made a graphic statement which is quite bizarre in a way, that he said he wouldn't even be surprised if Australia didn't win this race, whereas Aidan O'Brien's calling it the strongest contestant that he's ever had, and he has the most winning record of any trainer in history.
You know, the thing is, both John Magnier and Aidan O'Brien are not boastful people. So if they're confident, you've got to believe that they're busy with something special.
You know, when I spoke to Michael Catamol, who's one of the more celebrated, balanced and objective journalists that I've ever encountered, he said he thinks that the O'Brien yard can actually run 1, 2 and 3 in this Derby, which would be kind of dominant, but we're hoping that Sir Michael Stout and any other pretenders to the throne can give him some opposition.
Look, they've invested so much in it, and their infrastructure and their dedication and their love for the sport, because it's not just a commercial thing. For these guys, it's far more than that. There's this love for the tradition, for the history, for the prestige, perhaps a slight addiction to the prestige and so forth. And if somebody's managing to do it better than everybody else, I think it's maybe time for everybody else to sort of maybe take a leaf out of their book, or come up with new innovative ways of doing it. But they certainly seem to have a good chance for placing a couple in the first few this year. We'll see.
You talked about tradition. Now, there can't be too many traditions greater than that of cricket. It's an incredibly well-marketed event, and you guys have stepped into that arena, into rugby, into women's hockey, into so many ambits. Is there anything different that you do in horse racing to make this zebra just come alive and make that whole beautiful arena just so vibrant?
Look, the thing is, you've got to be true to yourself, and you've got to be true to the customs and traditions of a particular context, sport or culture or otherwise. So if we go into hockey, women's hockey, as we do in South Africa and Britain, or if we go into horse racing, one thing that we take that is a common thread for us is, I suppose, an INVESTEC attitude, which is the whole out of the ordinary thing, where you go, we're going to go the extra mile, we're going to push harder, we're going to go the extra mile for our clients, we will treat people with respect and fairness and all sorts of things. And if you then go and interact with any type of sports body, you get the best out of them, because they realize you're not coming there to try and impose something on there. You're coming in there, you're paying your respects to their context, listening to their concerns, and trying to make the thing together as a partnership. So the magic is not so much in what we do, but it's the combination with what we do with the guys on the other side. And if it wasn't for those good relationships and good partnerships, nothing would be fun, and nothing would be, I suppose, positive towards building those sports. But you've got to have some fun in the process. We can't take it too seriously. It's sport. It's not, it's not being at school. It's sport. You have some fun.
Well, just taking a look at that picture on the left over there, that just shows the diversity of INVESTEC's involvement, and that something that is completely out of the ordinary and unique in every respect. I'd like you to touch on the amount of camera angles that your crew have explored over the years. To me, it's a staggering statistic.
Look, the first time we did it in 2009, our head of branding in the UK, Jennifer Whiteford, watched the race something in the order of 300 times to try and figure out where could we put branding, where could we put camera placement. Then we worked with the BBC, who had the broadcast rights at the time, to figure out how we could help them get better shots. So we put balloons in the sky and long distance high definition cameras. Now with Channel 4, it's a different setup. They run more commercially, they're more open to flexible ideas, because they don't have to abide by a charter like the BBC does and so forth. So it's once again just, I suppose, giving the guys the freedom to do things that they wouldn't ordinarily try, and to try and encourage wherever you can, because what you want to do is look at something from a different angle. If we look at everything the same way, the whole time, it becomes bland. If you drive to work the same route every day, you don't see anything anymore. But if you try a different route every day, you're going to notice stuff. And it's the same thing with camera angles and the way we put our sponsorships together. Is how can you look at it, hopefully that hasn't been done before, but if it's not that original, how can you just add a different twist to it? Cameron van der Berg behind there. Well, let's take away what people normally expect in Africa, which is sunshine, and let's just desaturate it and accent the athleticism of the athlete. And out comes this powerful image. And I must say, some of my colleagues of the female gender are not completely averse to looking at that picture, because he's not the ugliest man on the planet, so,
I think he would say the same thing, reciprocally. Anyway, to put the lid on it, at the end of the day, business sense has to prevail, and Bernard Cantor cited an example of the dramatic escalation in business acquired during the period of time that the INVESTEC Derby takes centre stage, and to me, that's critically important aside from the sport.
All sponsorships are done with a commercial consideration in mind. So you do what you can to pay homage to the sport, but you're not doing it just for the fun, because then you're a dilettante with shareholders' money, and you can't be doing that. But the upside of sponsorship, whether it's horse racing or cricket or anything else, is you're engaging with people in an environment that they like. And you start becoming associated with something that they like. And if you are doing something to better that, there's a kind of predisposition to possibly like you. And ultimately, what's business? Business is about trusting somebody, A, secondly, believing they can do something well, and C, liking them, because that's like the cherry on the cake for longer term relationships. And I think the sponsorship angle helps a lot with the latter.
Well, from the functionality and aesthetics of the INVESTEC building here in Sandton, we bid you farewell and look forward to seeing you in your top hat and tails at Epsom Downs.
Thanks. I might have to have a haircut, but I'll see you there.
Squash it under.